So some guys will ask, hey, is that bath remodeling profitable? Like, can you really earn any money? And generally, I get asked that from people that are struggling to make money doing baths. This is what I've found over the years that depends on your market and the neighborhood, how you want to get set up. So in the area that I'm at, a lot of bathrooms are smaller, right? And so if you're doing the typical smaller size bathroom, you can't put a lot of guys on it, right? Because they just get in everybody's way. And what I mean is sometimes you only need one guy from your company working, maybe two, right? But you're not going to send a crew over usually to do a bathroom around unless it's a large master bath suite, okay? So understand that there's variables. So this is what I've found. Nicer bathrooms, higher end bathrooms, especially when you're getting into custom work, whether that's specialized tile, stand up showers, doing some sort of grab bars like ADA compliant, whatever. Yes, those can be very profitable. If you are just doing the very basics, they get tricky and you have to be exceptionally efficient to make money. And this is where most guys struggle, right? So what I found with our remodeling business was if we were wanted to be very profitable in the bathroom space, we had to be highly organized, all right? Because nothing will kill the profit more than having the guys have to run out and to the supply house, the warehouse, like twice a day because this plumbing retro piece isn't fitting right. This thing, we didn't anticipate this. We forgot to put that on the truck, right? So if you run into those kinds of issues, then no, remodeling a bathroom becomes less profitable. So I've pulled up some industry numbers to give you guys like some sort of a benchmark, let's say, or something you could look at. But we'll do what we call like an average. So let's just say that your company is doing $3 million a year, right? So now you as the owner, you're not just self-employed, you've pulled back and you got some guys working for you. So you're probably running a couple baths at any one time. You've got a good system. You're selling a lot. You're doing really well in your marketing. You have a good brand, right? A good image, and homeowners trust you. So you should, if you're well run and you have good systems in place, then you should be earning easily a 10 to 15% profit margin, right? Now, the average company is running probably closer to like 6%. And the elite, right? The guys that are very highly specialized and have their stuff together, they charge a very appropriate price for the level of service and the efficiency. They're probably over 15, closer to easily a 20% profit margin. So what does that really look like? Well, if you're doing $3 million in sales, and if you're the average guy, let's just say you had a good year and you did 7%, well, then that's going to give you about $200,000 in a net profit. Now, let's say that, hey, we're above average. We kind of have our stuff together, right? We actually, we have some systems in place. We've hired a coach. We have business acumen. We have business skills. So at $3 million, if you could hit 15% profit, I mean, that's almost $500,000. That's you're close to $450,000. Now, let's say you're that elite company, right? You just strive for excellence. You hire the best. You are the best. You're on your A game, right? You got your stuff together. Well, for you, you're probably earning at $3 million. You're pulling in at least $600,000, probably, right? So think about that for a minute. Here we could have 3 remodeling companies, 3 different business owners, all bringing in around $3 million a year. But the money that's left over at the end, I mean, for one guy, it could be $600,000, whereas the other guy, it's $200,000. So when you ask questions like, is it profitable? Is this a good business to go into? what you have to say to yourself is, am I going to be good at it? Will I be profitable? Because it can be if you're good and you have your stuff together and you're organized, right? If you get in a lane in your groove. There is a company near me. They opened in like 1980, I believe, and they stay in their lane. They only do bathroom work and tile, right? That's it, bath and tile, and they do big baths, little baths, right? And they're, for many years they were averaging over $15 million a year, and that's all they did was bath remodeling. And what they found was the key to their success was they came up with a system. So once they figured out how to sell a remodel, a successful, profitable bath remodel project, they wrote down how they did it, what they did, what it looked like, and then they just replicate it. And then they just figure out ways to increase their advertising budget and reach, right? So how do we advertise to get to more people so that we can sell more jobs? And that means, yes, we're probably going to have to hire a few more crews to come in and perform the work. But we now know that as long as we advertise more, we can then sell more, we can then produce more, and we can earn more. That's the game, okay? So again, if you want to ask yourselves or ask around like, man, what niche should I get into? Well, any of them will work as long as you're going to work. Does that make sense? All right. So at the end of the day, your profitability just comes down to your structure within your business acumen, right? And how well you're able to either run or not run your remodeling business. So if you need help, if you're like, man, I'm doing bathrooms and they're not profitable, then reach out and get some help. If you need to, come on over to the Remodeling Academy. We can help you figure out why you're not able to do bathrooms profitably. All right. Like I said, for you, maybe you're running into the situation we ran into where we were finding that you don't want to send too many people in to do a bath remodel, all right? Because they just can't, they get in each other's way. So one good trained, lead guy and maybe a helper, and that's it. And they should be knocking out that bathroom for you. Now, some guys I've found like to switch it up. And what I mean is within your company, you might have one or two guys that just come in, knock out, and they do demo, right? And then you have one or two guys that they come in and they do like this prep work, right? They do all the tile work. And then you have like another guy or two and they do like the carpentry. They come in and paint, or maybe they don't paint, maybe they put in like the grab bars and they put in the towel racks, set the vanity. You know what I mean? So that's another way. I found that for us to be most profitable, our bath installers had to be very well rounded and capable of doing a lot of things. So typically the same guy was putting in the tile as was putting in the vanity and the grab bar, but that's just what we found worked for us. All right, I'm not saying it would work for you guys. Another thing that we found was the specialized glass installers was, right? We would not get into doing the higher end glass work, right? You sub that out. And we would try to stay away from a lot of the Home Depot style glass installs. And we would go with a professional, right? Frameless, let's call it, glass installer. And those jobs for us were much more profitable. It can be challenging to get in on those low-end bathrooms. And I don't, if you can do it and you're profitable, awesome. We found it was more profitable to kind of be a little bit of a higher end. Because this is what we find too. Most homeowners want nicer things, right? And it's just a matter of helping them figure out how we can make it work for them. All right. Hope that helps. Again, if you need some help, come on over to the Remodeling Academy.